everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I'm also posting a link to the Marvel fan page with a plot synopsis to the story as well as character bios if you're so inclined. So, we have started with every issue of Walter Simonson's run on Thor, and we have 4 issues left of him as artist. Now, he will remain as writer for about 15 more issues or so after he leaves, but we got 4 issues and then he's done. He ends up going to X Factor to work with his wife as the penciler. So he won't even ink himself on X Factor. Bob Wyasek and Al Milgrom, I believe, are his inkers of choice. But before he ends up leaving, he does this story, which is really cool. So we are looking today at Thor 364 from 1985. Walter Simonson is one of my absolute favorite artists. I love his work, and eventually I hope to cover all of it. So, here we go. Thor croaks. We're in Asgard, home of the mighty Norse gods. In story and legend, Odin One-Eye was ruler of the gods. Ruler of the gods of the Vikings. But now Odin has vanished, perhaps even perished. And so, let all now be silent. Frigga, wife of Odin and keeper of the scepter of power, speaks. And so Frigga says, I charge thee, bearers of our country's banners, to ride throughout the kingdom. Great splash page here. And summon our people to the great All-Thing. 1/4 night hence shall it be held here in the city. At that time a new ruler of the Golden Realm will be chosen, and Asgard may never be the same again. So, Walter Simonson, pencils and inks. John Workman Jr., the best letterer in all of comic books. Tomer Zakowski is number 2. And, I forgot. I was going to say Kevin Kline. Oh, his name escapes me, but he was the letterer of the Sandman. He is number 3, in my opinion. But definitely all 3 are the best letterers ever. So, bold warriors, ride forth to the 4 corners of the kingdom, and may the light of Odin's scepter shine upon thee and keep thee safe. So, out go the riders. And so here is Sif and Heimdall, and then the warriors 3. So, and Frigga says, I never dreamed that I should see the day when a hand other than my husband's would hold his radiant scepter. And Heimdall's like, Frigga, with a question mark, I am all right, Heimdall, but just when you think you have lived so long that there's nothing new under the sun, the fates conspire to show you something beyond your wildest imaginings. And who would have believed I should dwell in my house alone? And so Fandral says he will see her home, though I think another should have had that honor. Where is the son of Odin who has so often been proclaimed the heir to the throne of Asgard? Where is the mighty Thor? And so he was to have returned to Asgard directly after delivering the souls of the mortals rescued from hell to earth. We covered both those issues. Actually, all three of these issues. Surely, Hogan, such a task would not have taken him long. And Fandral says, mayhap the storms between Asgard and Midgard is Earth, have grown so strong that the Rainbow Bridge has been destroyed, that he is unable to cross between the realms. And so you see like a whirlpool. Surely Thor of all the gods would be able to. But wait, here he comes now. But it's not. It's Beta Ray Bill. Love this. By the teeth of Garm, 'tis not the figure of Thor that materializes before our eyes, but that of, and then Sif is like, Beta Ray Bill, you have come to Asgard, but did he not come with you? And Bill says, no, he left Earth sometime before me with his chariot. Oh, sorry, Bill. Thor extended your invitation, Lady Sif, and I told him I would accept it. And now that I'm here, I must thank him as well. And so that's when she says, did he not come with you? He knew there was much to be done here and was in a hurry to return home. You mean he has not arrived? And so, Volstagg says, nay, we thought the cosmic storms between here and Asgard might have delayed him. And Bill says, truly the storms are fierce, but they would not have hindered the God of Thunder's passage. And Sif says, then where is he? We are about to hold the All-Thing here in Asgard, the most important we have ever held since the beginning of the Golden Realm. Nothing short of death could have prevented Thor from returning here with all deliberate speed. And so, I won't read this part, but Ribbit, and he says, a frog, I've become a frog. So this is Thor. Loki turned him into a frog. And so only Loki would have the knowledge and will to achieve this transformation. Either there is some new villain at work, or Loki has developed powers far beyond his previous abilities. And so he is hopping through. This is just so cool. There was a frog Thor in the in that Loki series, but in the comic book it actually is Thor, not some alternate version of him. Still, there is no time to ponder this mystery. I must get help immediately. The Avengers Mansion is the place to get it. Of course, they won't be able to understand it. Fortunately, I can leap between the electric I-beams, through the windows, into the kitchen. That was an impressive leap by an enchanted frog rather than an ordinary one, has its advantages. And so, he tosses the flour or the sugar. And so he's like, help, and then in comes, oh, this is Franklin Richards. And Jarvis is in there, and he's about to clean up, and he's like, what's this on the floor? And Jarvis doesn't even read it, and he's like, oh no, Jarvis shot right through the message, and he tosses the frog outside. And Franklin is like, but Jarvis, he wrote something in the sugar. I saw him, letters and everything. And can you tell me how on earth you think a frog learned to write? I think, Master Franklin, that perhaps we should restrict your intake of Saturday morning cartoon shows more severely. And so, Thor is like, what do we do? And here comes a rat. And Thor, of course, springs out of the way right into a incoming cab. Well, I assume it's a cab because it's yellow. So, hey, buddy, did you see that? Looked like a bullfrog the size of Montana leaping in front of the car. No problem, cabby. I'll get out right here. And the frog makes it safely. And here comes the rat, who also makes it. And then, so Thor does his little... And the rat's like, sweet! And hits the rat. And the rat goes away. And so I love this part. Thus, the foes of Thor's are always vanquished. This is so cool. And so this man's all drunk, and of course he meets one of Thor's goats. I will always say this: the goats in the movie were stupid, and they are not how the goats were put in. That movie wanted to be a comedy. The fourth Thor was just terrible. Thor: God and Thunder. It could have been the best, and it in turn was so dumb. So, all right. So this guy says he's never gonna drink again, and we're back to Thor Frog. And so again, he wonders what to do when he hears other frogs, because now he speaks the language of frogs. So, it is a bit silly, but it's comic books, and Walt Simonson. It's so offbeat that I don't know. Here come the rats, and so all in all, they're in Central Park. So, and so we're back in Asgard, where the kids discovered the the sword of Surtur, but the Thor sort of disappears or turns invisible, and they're like, "Did we dream it?" And they're like, "No, look at right at the edges of the sword was things look like heat rising off the roads." And when you step closer, you can see the sword again. The whole thing is surrounded by some kind of cloaking shield. Only one god could do something like this. Loki's up to no good, and nobody knows but us. We've got to get to Heimdall and warn him. And so back in Central Park, here come the frogs. So this is Thor's friend is Puddle Gulp. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to drive off the rats. So, and this is Ratso. And look, another frog, a giant. He'll make a meal for us. But of course, it's the Thor frog, so. And poor Puddle Gulp. Oh no, that's the king. The king of the frogs. And so they ask for Thor for help, basically, to fight the rats. And so we won't spend too much time, but the king ended up dying. I think Puddle Gulp is the princess. So I love the name Dewlap. So Dewlap comes out and says, "Listen up, I've come from the lake over near the great castle. The rats are collecting the rat poison that's been placed around the park, and they're planning to dump it all in the reservoir tonight. We're doomed. Poison in the reservoir could be a lot of trouble for Manhattan as well as for the frogs. I must return to Asgard as quickly as possible, yet the inhabitants of Manhattan, both human and animal, need my aid." So Thor is going to help them. So we're just gonna kind of move it along. I know a lot of people probably gonna look at this and go, "This is silly or dumb," but it's part of the story, so we're gonna cover it. All right. So back in Asgard, the travelers come pouring in until every inn and hostel is filled to the bursting. And why not? Never before has the All Thing been called upon to decide a matter of such importance. Strange how Loki has kept such a low profile. Perhaps he has already struck, and no trace of Thor has been found. You think Loki would dare? And so Heimdall comes out and says, "For the throne of Asgard, I think he would dare anything. Come, the opening session of the All Things about to begin. Today Asgard chooses the lawgiver who shall govern this conclave, and for the first time in an eternity, it shall not be Odin. And so, hosts of Asgards, welcome, says Frigga. I hold above me the great scepter of power. By its light we shall solemnize our decisions here. Let all men and women search their hearts and find the courage therein to speak only truth within this amphitheater. I, Frigga, wife of Odin and mother of the gods, declare the great Althing of Asgard opens. Now we will hear nominations for the office of lawgiver. And so here's Loki. My friends, Loki claims the right as Odin steps in to stand before you now. Can there be any doubt to who would best serve Asgard in her hour of need as the lawgiver of the Althing? Surely only Odin's trusted advisor and confidant, the great vizier, should stand in the assembly as lawgiver. Who else would honor that sacred trust or fulfill that office so well? Speak, guardians, and tell me you agree that no other could so faithfully execute those duties in this solemn hour. And the cheers go up from the multitudes as the Grand Vizier steps forward to receive the office of lawgiver. Well met, Heimdall. What's so dour? Do you not think the choice of Odin's old friend a wise one? So it would seem, Loki, but you have been too quiet of late, and I am reminded of an ancient adage. When the voice of Loki is still, look for thy weapons, for surely there is menace in the air. I do not see your motives clearly, yet by the time will come. And so Loki thinks, you suspect, Heimdall, but you do not know. Perhaps the time has come for another frog to grace the Asgardian ponds. And so Heimdall thinks and ponders. I'm more convinced than ever that Loki is behind Thor's disappearance. Yet there can be no question of Loki's suborning the Grand Vizier. His plan must run deep. Heimdall, Uncle Heimdall, what is it, child? You're trembling. We found the sword, but you can't see it, and Loki's already gotten to it. And there's gently, speak plainly. It's out in the wilderness. Look. The eyes are the best. My eyes are the best in Asgard, able to see to the ends of the nine worlds. Yes, I see nothing. That's right, it's invisible. It's Surtur's, and Loki already found it. That distortion, is it possible? Children, I want you to find the Warriors 3. Say nothing to them when you find them, but send them to me. Thor's missing, Baldur's gone, where even my eyes cannot find him. And so it says the details of Baldur's whereabouts can be found in the Baldur the Brave limited series. Something tells me that Loki has only just begun his plan of campaign. I ended up not covering the Baldur the Brave limited series, but feel free to check out the Marvel fan page. Citizens of Asgard, I call upon the sons of Odin to stand by me now before the Althing. Loki is here, lawgiver, to answer the call of the Althing promptly. Again, I summon the mighty Thor to take his place before the assembly. Thor does not appear. Where did you suppose? Could he be? Surely he would never. Unbelievable that he would miss. So, for the third and final time, let Thor step forward or forever step aside. And Loki thinks, hop forward is more like it, old man. But 'tis a long jump from Midgard to Asgard. And with the cloak and disruption drawn about his chariot and hammer, no Asgardian will find a trace of Thor until far too late. And then, suddenly, I beg the Althing forgive my tardiness. A pressing matter of business. Well met, brother. And of course, Loki is like Thor because he's super surprised. And so Thor is taking some of the rats and pulling them. The light ahead of me is growing stronger. My destination must be just around that farther corner. And so, as I suspected, Alligators, the fables of New York City are true. But is that some man I see seated before the great beast, playing a tune as though he has serenaded his lover beneath a balcony in the moonlight? And that piper says, "Ha! What's that movement in the shadows over there? A frog throwing a bunch of rats behind him." And Thor's like, "He see me. I best withdraw into the dark until I know more about the situation." And the piper says, "Come back, little friend. I want to know what sort of frog hauls rats through the tunnels of the alley. Piper has a tune for you. Come back and let us get to know you better. My limbs, I cannot command them. The music has taken control of my body, and I am leaping into the light and straight into the jaws of the alligators." So, thus we end our story. And next issue, guess who's coming to dinner? Or it's not easy being green. So, Thor 364 from 1985, written and drawn by Walter Simonson, letters by John Workman Jr. It's offbeat. It's a little different this issue. That's all right. It's all part of the story. So, like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Goodbye.